Good people, what is going on? Another episode of the All Go Podcast. I believe this is episode 32. But yeah, it's a nice, brisk morning. Happy Saturday to everybody. Special shout out to my oldest daughter, Sydney. Yesterday was her birthday. She turned 15, which is crazy to think about. But I told her she is halfway to 30, which if you want to see a funny reaction to a 15-year-old, tell them that. It's pretty funny. But yeah, today wanted to talk a little bit about a couple things. Number one, Kevin Durant and the legacy hit that his first round sweep of the Nets had. Also want to talk about Karl Anthony Towns, because that is he's a very unique guy, and also want to talk about the Detroit Lions draft. And to give you just a quick little tidbit, I'm drinking all the kool-aid. So Kevin Durant, is everybody knows at this point, the Nets were swept 4-0 by the Boston Celtics. And quick caveat for the LeBron James fans who are saying that LeBron beat this same Celtics team in 2018 by himself, and KD and Kyrie got swept by them. Jason Tatum is, I think, 24, 25 years old. 4 years ago, he was 21. This is not the same Celtics team that it was in 2018. So stop that. And see, this is why people get on y'all. This is why. Because you have these false equivalencies. Anyway, so KD and Kyrie were swept by the Celtics. I mean, the Celtics, I want to give them credit because the defense they played on Kevin Durant, mainly on KD, was incredible. I mean, they were physical. They moved him off his spot. You know, they double-teamed him. They trapped him. They did everything to him, and he just could not get a rhythm. And they ended up losing the 4 games by a combined grand total of 18 points, I think. And to me, I think, number one, when you are the best player on a team, you get the blame. When the team, fails, you get the blame. Rarely have I ever seen the second best player on a team get blamed when a team fails. You know, when Steph Curry, Kevin Durant got hurt at Golden State and Clay got hurt. People still looked at Steph like, yo, man, you couldn't extend that series? Like, this is on you. Same thing when Golden State lost a 3-1 lead in the finals to LeBron. People looked at Steph. They didn't look at Clay. They didn't look at Draymond. They said, man, like, Steph, you got to come up big. Games 5, 6, and 7, you didn't play well. That's the gig. That just comes with the responsibility. Like, you take the brunt, because when you win it, you get the love of a championship. Like, people talk about LeBron's championships. They don't talk about who was in the sidecar. So that's part of the gig. Like, that's what comes with being a superstar and being the best player on the team. And to me, there are people saying, like, well, this isn't a hit on Kevin Durant's legacy. What? How could it not be? You're talking about a team in the Celtics who are young. They've got a lot of really good players, but when this season first started, people were talking about they need to trade some of these guys. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum don't work together. I was one of those, because at that point, I'm like, listen, man, you guys can't get over the hump. We need to make some changes. Obviously, I was wrong. I've been wrong plenty of times before. It won't be the last time. But to make it seem as if Kevin Durant's legacy is going to be just intact, that's ridiculous. And the reason that I know that is because, we've got a guy in LeBron who is, this is 2022. So 11 years ago, that gentleman played in the NBA Finals. It wasn't his first go-around there, but his first go-around with the Miami Heat. And LeBron didn't play well at all. He kind of took himself out of the game, whatever. Nonetheless, he was awful. And he got crushed for it. And, he had the infamous post-game press conference where, people got to go back to their crappy lives and I get to do what I want, blah, blah, blah. He got killed for that. But since that NBA Finals happened 11 years ago, it's been 11 years and 4 championship rings. LeBron James is, I think, universally regarded as a top 3 player in NBA history. And that is still, to this day, something that people knock him about. The 2011 Finals, especially for people who are the avid Jordan supporters, that, LeBron will never surpass Jordan. The biggest thing that they look at are 2 things. Number 1, that 2011 Finals. And number 2, the fact that he has 4 championships and Jordan has 6. So, but more so, it's the 2011 Finals. So to make it seem as if Kevin Durant is just going to skate with that, with that just not impacting his legacy at all, like, there's no way. And it's not like Kevin Durant played well. He was awful for 3 of the 4 games. And also, when you look at all 4 games were won by a combined 18 points, you're telling me, Kevin Durant, you can't score 4 to 5 more points per game in a 4-game series? I think you can. So no, there's nothing you could tell me that KD, this doesn't impact his legacy at all. It definitely does. This is embarrassing. The Celtics are a really good team, but you were out there getting babied and getting bullied on the basketball court. So yeah, no, this is definitely it. And the thing that's unique with the Celtics is, I think everybody had this game plan of, just get physical with KD. Yeah, he's a smaller guy. He's more of a finesse game. Yeah, you can just bully him. It'll be fine. It's easy to say, but everybody doesn't have the personnel to be able to do that. All right, people don't have a 6'9" wing, a 6'7" wing. Even Marcus Smart is 6'4", 6'5". Everyone doesn't have the type of defenders that the Celtics do, and the type of defensive scheme and strategy that they do as well. So it's easier said than done, but the Celtics did it, and Giannis is going to be in for battle in the next round. Karl Anthony Towns. The T-Wolves just got eliminated last night 4-2 by the Grizz. And Karl Anthony Towns is a player that I've been super hard on because it is difficult for me to look at you and think that you're a great player when he has been on abysmal teams. And I'm talking about within the last 2 to 3 years, where you would think, as being a great player, that you would be able to get your team. I mean, listen, Russell Westbrook got a bad OKC team to the 4 or 5 seed. And Karl Anthony Towns, this is, I think, the first time he's been to the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. So it should be something, especially as a big, potentially dominant center. You're the biggest body on the court. You're the biggest guy out there. In elementary school, the biggest guy out there usually has some success. But you can shoot the 3. You've got a good post game, good mid-range. You can pass the ball. I mean, you can do all of the things that you would need a dominant player to do. He just doesn't do them. And to me, it's to be a 20-something win team with Karl Anthony Towns on the court as a young player, that's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And I've just never really been a fan because I don't think he understands enough of situational basketball. And I think that showed itself in the series for the T-Wolves and Grizzlies. T-Wolves will get a lead and blow it because they just start throwing up threes and missing them instead of getting a potentially dominant center down on the block and getting some layups at the glass, or get fouled where you can shoot a couple free throws. But nonetheless, more so than that, I think he's just kind of like he's one of those guys that is kind of placed in a leadership position and in kind of the spotlight position, but doesn't really know what to do. And he's kind of awkward, and I could appreciate that. As I get older, I have come to understand awkward situations are just going to happen. But for Cat, I feel like he is kind of like faking it. Like they had the first, I think, win of the series, or they after they won their first or second game of the series. He's having the interview, and you can clearly tell he's excited, as he should be. They won a playoff game. That's a pretty exciting thing. And he's like almost like smirking, and tells the sideline reporter, like, you could look on my face and tell that I'm not happy. And it just was like so. It was comical. Like I think he was trying to be serious, but it was just comical because it just didn't. Like everybody knew he was laughing, or he was lying. Like everybody's part of the inside joke except Cat. And it just I think he was trying to mimic the late great Kobe Bryant, where they were up I think 3 games in the finals, and he had a press conference where he was pretty stoic, borderline upset looking, and a reporter asked, like, what's you don't seem that happy, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. And Kobe just said the job's not done. We haven't done anything yet. We when you win 4, that's when you win. So it's just weird. And he was mic'd up one of the games, and he's talking about we're back in our house now. We're not in Memphis. We're back in our house. It's just an odd thing, but at the end of the day, he got to play better. Like this up and down stuff. 8 points in a game, like, that's ridiculous. Having 4 shots in a game is ridiculous. You got to wake up. If you want to be a great player, and I don't know if he does, but I would assume that, you got to wake up, man. You got to start dominating these games. This little just kind of lackadaisical and, I want to shush the crowd and do it. You don't get to do that when you're not a dominant player and you're not playing well and you're up and down and inconsistent. I don't want to see you shushing the crowd. You need to shush, really. But it is what it is. He's young. I mean, he's been in the league 7 years now. So you'd like to see him start turning that corner, but it is what it is at this point. The last thing I wanted to talk about is the Detroit Lions. So, Lions, I think, got their best player in the draft at number 2 with drafting Aiden Hutchinson. I was very excited about that. I have wanted Aiden Hutchinson for about probably 2 months, I would say. Originally, I was thinking Kayvon Thibodeau. The pre-draft process, I don't think did him too well. But nonetheless, Trayvon Walker went number 1, and that had Aiden fall into number 2, which the Lions jumped on that, as they should. And, I think they got a great player. I think they have a guy who is going to be very solid. He's a grown-up, and it sounds funny, but he is. He's going to be a guy that you don't have to worry about getting in trouble. You don't have to worry about, hiring a chaperone to follow him around. You're not going to have to worry about him getting in, bar fights at 3 a.m. None of that. You have a guy that you can depend on, who is going to be your hardest worker. He's going to be a vocal leader. He's going to do it on the field. He's going to be one of your leaders, even as a rookie. That's just in his makeup, and that's what you want with a team like the Lions. We are working on creating a new culture, because we have a brand new regime, and Dan Campbell had me worried for a little bit. I was about ready to fire him. Obviously, I don't have that power, but seeing how the team performed down the stretch, the guys played hard. We found a gem that we have on our roster, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Went out, signed DJ Chark. So we've got some things to build on, And, I think Hutchinson's going to come in and be just that. I think he's probably going to be a pretty consistent 10-sack guy. I think he'll pop every now and then, get you 15, 14 in a season. But I think he'll be really consistent. I don't think you're going to see many 7-sack seasons out of him or too often where you'll wonder if he's in the game. He's going to be there. He's going to show up pretty consistently, and I'm excited about that. Then the Lions went and traded up for, as a Alabama fan, one of my guys, Jameson Williams, wide receiver from Alabama. I think he had 1,500 yards, 16 touchdowns last year. Deep threat guy, is an absolute blazer. Can run. He's coming off an injury. He got injured in the national championship game in January, February. So coming off an ACL injury, but they say that his timetable, he should be ready for training camp. I would be one to be a little cautious with that. I'd probably, first 2 games minimum, probably max first 4 games, I probably would think about not having him play, but that's just me, so don't worry about that. But that would be my thought. But I mean, Jameson Williams can potentially be the best receiver in this draft. And if you're telling me that we have a guy who has potentially Jamar Chase type impact, that what we gave up to get him is worth it. 1,000%. It's worth it. So I'm excited. I think, I think in the matter of a free agency period and a draft, I mean, the Lions are better. They are better today than they were, 3-4 months ago. They're better today. And that's what you want to see. And, people are talking that the Lions potentially could have had the best player defensively and potentially the best player offensively in this draft. We'll see what happens, but I feel good about it. And then they go and draft the D lineman from Kentucky, Josh Paschal. Another solid player, solid pick. I'm drinking the kool-aid. I'm going all in. I have always been skeptical of the Lions because they are the Lions. But the thing I think about is need to give this regime an opportunity to, just give them a chance. If they screw it up like all the other regimes have before, then fine. But I think they deserve a shot. I'm going all in, and might have myself a JMO jersey, depending on what number he picks. We'll see. But, no, I'm excited about it. Day 3 of the draft is today. I think it kicks back up at noon. So we'll see what else the Lions do. But I'm excited. I'm really excited. I think offensively we've got some weapons with DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams, Hawk, Chark, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Williams. If Goff can play the way he played the last 5-6 games of the season, we might be cooking with gas. And, defensively, we re-signed Tracy Walker, picking up Paschal, Aiden Hutchinson. I think Hutchinson's going to be a plug-and-play guy. He's going to be our starting DN from day one. So we've got some stuff to build off of. We aren't a 3-win team based off talent anymore. So brought some talent in. I'm excited for it. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that is it for me. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, and have a good one. Peace.